American and 50% Filipino. He's a speaker and author with a sense of humor. He's a past president of the National Speakers Association and one of only 40 global speaking fellows in the world. He's the author of 6 books, including Celebrate Lessons Learned from the World's Most Admired Organizations and A Celebration a Day, 365 Ways to a Happier, Healthier Workplace. He co-founded Together We Can Change the World in 2008 with Jenna Stanfield. Open your minds to new possibilities as he will prove that the best way to predict the future is to create it. It's always with a pleasure to introduce to you Scott Friedman.
Thank you, sir. If you've learned something and you're going to use it, clap your hands. Okay, good. Because that really, as much fun as we've had today and all the good ideas, unless you make the choice to use it, then your time could have been better spent, right? Because life is truly a series of choices. You are where you are today based on the choices that you've made up to this point in your life. And you will be where you are tomorrow based on the choices that you make today. If you want to change your future, all you need to do is change your choices. Now I'm going to use a little AI here right now and see if I can mentally change my slides. Did I miss the slide advancer somewhere, the remote? All right, see if it's somewhere around as we're talking. Thank you. All right. So, it's not always easy, is it? We need to challenge ourselves. If we truly want to make choices, we need to challenge ourselves. Because, change the slide if you would. Oh, here it comes. Thanks, Marley. What a guy you are. You know, there, give Marley a hand. All right. Let's see this. It works. I love when that happens. All right. Yeah, comfort never produced greatness, right? Comfort never produced greatness. So as Paul told us, I think we've heard a few times today, we need to step out of our comfort zone. Now, gosh, I think it's been like probably 35 years when I had a very profound experience that I will never forget. It was a 5-day personal growth training, 12 hours a day for 5 days. And the biggest challenge came on the final day. The final day was designated Stretch Day. And the purpose of Stretch Day was to stretch your capabilities and comfort zone and do something you wouldn't normally do. The assignment was to go out into the community of Chicago and start a meaningful conversation with somebody we wouldn't normally talk to. And the way that you would know if it was a person you were supposed to talk to or not was when your heart was racing with fear. Now let's see if I can do this. Yeah, that kind of works. That's how you knew that that was the person you were supposed to talk to. So I walked into a mall in Chicago looking for hopefully a willing volunteer to play along. First 2 people I see in the food court are 2 police officers. Police are easy to talk to. Not a big deal, right? Next 2 people, 2 ladies talking to one another. Now, I have been single my entire life. I have been turned down more than a king-size bed at the Shangri-La. I mean, a little bit more rejection. No big deal. Next table. Table for 6. 6 people at the table. Nowhere to sit. Now, these people, I think like 70s, 80s, somewhere in that range, and they're speaking a foreign language. I don't recognize the foreign language. Speaking a foreign language, in the middle of lunch, nowhere to sit, I'm thinking, I can't go over there. And I start to turn away, and what do you think happens? Sure enough, and you know how you know something would be good for you, that you do need to step out of that comfort zone, but you come up with all the reasons in the world why now not be the time to do it. What do you need to do in those situations? You just need to do it, right? Well, it was part of my assignment, so I didn't have much of a choice. So I walked over to the table. I made eye contact with the lady at the head of the table. I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, do you mind if I sit down and talk for a little while?" And she looks up at me, and in English she says, "What do you want from us?" I really don't want anything. I would just love to sit and talk. Story to be continued later. So when was the last time your heart raced with fear? Now, maybe it was one of these calamities that Jovanier was referring to. Maybe a typhoon. Maybe it was during COVID, hopefully not that long ago. Maybe investing in AI software, whatever it may have been. Comfort never produced greatness, right? The true measure of success today is your ability to transition. Because we are in one permanent state of impermanence. 3 guarantees about change. Number 1, it's not going away. Number 2, no matter how well planned for, it will never be trouble-free. And number 3, we are accountable for making it work. Eric Hoffer said, learners will inherit the earth, while the learned will be beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. And the world that we know it no longer exists. Peter Senge said a company's only competitive advantage is its speed of learning. The quicker we adopt new ideas, the quicker we adopt technology, the better off we're going to be. But we need to take the risk. We need to step out of that comfort zone. Because if you haven't made a commitment to the digital economy, to AI, you've pretty much made a commitment to retire. So we need to be intentional about what the rest of our life looks like, what it is we really want, what are we prepared to do to get it. I think we need to be creative, right? And the good news is the answers are only as good as the people we invite into the room. Now we have the opportunity to have our own board of advisors. Let's go through some of the legendary figures up here on the screen. Who's this? Manny Pacquiao. Okay, next. Jose Rizal. Next. Paulette Liu. Look at that. Next. No? Russell Peters? Is Russell Peters popular here? No? Not so much. All right, I'm taking him off my slide next time, all right? Next. Michelle Liu? No? It's worth $2. Roger, this is an easy way to get $2 for you because you told me about this guy. Ramon Ong. Okay, I owe you $2. I'm not running out now, okay? Ramon Ong of San Miguel Corp, right? Okay, great. Down here, Bill Gates, Maria Ressa, Steve Jobs, Lapu Lapu, Mother Teresa. I'll give you a hint. Was born in 569 BC. That's why the iPhones weren't so good in 569 BC. That's why it's not quite Socrates. All right, so here's what I want you to do. All right, your board of advisors, I want you to at least consist of 2 people. It doesn't have to be up here, but this is a good start. All right? One that has the wisdom of the ages that has gone before us, and one that is living today. All right? And then whatever challenge you have, All we need to do is ask ChatGPT or your favorite AI software for advice, and you can get advice from anyone. All right, let's play a little bit. I've invited my friend G to join the conversation. Well, I haven't invited him yet. I'm going to invite him right now. Hopefully he's not sleeping or anything. Let's see. All right, let's go. Hey G, are you with me?
I'm right here with you. Whenever you need to bounce something off me or get a quick thought, I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, thanks. We are. I'm with an esteemed group of leaders in Cebu, Philippines, right now, and we're talking about creating your own board of advisors. I just have shown them a list of legendary leaders from the ages, and we're gonna tap into some wisdom from them. Are you ready to go?
Absolutely. Let's dive in. Whether it's channeling the daring decisions of a tycoon or the community-first mindset of a local hero, we'll extract some sharp insights for your group. Shoot me the first scenario.
All right. First, Paulette Liu is the only legendary figure that is actually in the room. Can you just tell us a little about Paulette Liu, if you would, please?
Paulette Liu is a standout figure from Cebu. She's known for her leadership, her dedication to the local community, and her ability to inspire others through action. So you've got the real deal right there.
Ah, well, thank you. Wow. I was a little worried to ask you, but that was a good answer. Nice, very good work. All right, I'm gonna keep you on for a little while. All right, so in the spirit of Paulette Liu, Mom Paulette Liu, let's say how do you deal with a difficult boss? What would Paulette say about that?
I think Paulette would emphasize patience and empathy, but also courage. She'd probably suggest understanding where the boss is coming from, communicating openly, and standing up for yourself with professionalism and respect.
Is that close, ma'am Paulette? You're kind of turning red over there, I've noticed. Okay, all right, so let's try. Came up with I'm going to ask them to come up with an advisor, and then I'm going to ask you a question, all right? So can you keep quiet just for a minute or two? All right, thank you very much. All right, advisor. Give me an advisor, and then come up with some issue, some challenge that you're dealing with right now. Anybody? It's worth $2, a crisp, fresh $2 bill from America. Who?
I'll stay quiet while you gather their ideas.
Well, if you're going to stay quiet, that's not staying real quiet, is it? No, we're talking. Well, I'm talking now. Gee, we just talked about this. All right, thank you. Yes.
You're absolutely right. I'll zip it now. Total silence until you cue me back in.
Okay, great. Thanks, G. All right. An advisor?
That's helpful. Whenever you're ready to share what they've come up with, I'll be here to jump right in.
Well, they're not sharing as fast as I thought they would share. I thought maybe 5 of them would raise their hand. What do I do now? Oh, sure. Now you're silent.
I'm right with you. Just giving space for the room. If they need a nudge, maybe toss in a playful incentive or a quick example. I'm ready when they are.
All right. I gave them a $2 bill. Isn't that enough incentive, you think?
A crisp $2 bill is definitely a fun incentive. Maybe give them just a moment more to think.
All right.
Sometimes the best challenge takes a second to emerge.
Okay. All right. Give them another second. Da, na, 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 na. Okay.
Throw something at us?
All right. I'm gonna do it myself then. All right. You sure you don't want to play? This is fun. Okay. Gee, I'm going to ask you another question. So we're talking about strategy, executing strategy, AI, and the human connection. How you blend them all. So as we look to be great leaders and really take good care of our teams, courageous leadership, give me some advice, and let's do it. How about Manny Pacquiao? In the spirit of Manny Pacquiao, can you do that for me?
Channeling Manny Pacquiao, it's all about relentless discipline and heart. Approach strategy like training, consistent, focused reps. For AI, it's a tool in your corner, but the knockout punch is the human connection. Lead with humility and fight for your team.
Nice. I like the knockout punch. That was very clever. That was something Harold Payne would say. Yeah. All right. Anybody want to give it a whirl? Crisp $2 bill. It's real, promise. Okay. Oh. All right, G, I think they get the point. So I'm going to ask them to come up with an advisor that has passed on and one that's currently living, and try this on your own, all right? Chat GPT. Okay, thanks, G. It's been fun playing with you. We'll talk to you later. Okay. All right. So that's your board of advisors. All right. I challenge you. It's almost like you're doing your own little seance, but you don't need any special candles, and Wi-Fi is much better. Okay. Track your happiness. There is a famous psychiatrist from Harvard that came up with this app called Track Your Happiness. He wanted to find out when people in life are the most happy. So what circumstances would you think that would cause people to be happy? Exercise, music, meditation. But actually, what the Harvard psychiatrist found was it's not so important the circumstances you find yourself in. What's more important is the stories you tell yourself about the circumstances that you're in, how you evaluate your experiences. If you look at your past through the eyes of anger and resentment, and you look at your current circumstances the same way, that shows up as anger, resentment, and fear of the future. Nelson Mandela said, "As I walked out the door toward that gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." Right? When we operate from a place of fear or anger, or that's the way we look at life, what happens is we stay in the beta state. Our brainwave induces feelings of overanalyzing everything. We have anxiety now. We project anxiety into the future. Fear of the unknown. We're emotionally reactive. Things are moving very quickly. We're anxious. We have a trouble dealing with everyday life. If that continues to be our focus. And the goal is to move from that beta wave to the alpha wave by telling ourselves different stories. If you change your story, you can change your life. If you look at your past and you look at your current circumstances through the eyes of gratitude, that shows up as hope and faith in your future. And that moves us toward that alpha waves where we don't need to control time so much, that we just have trust in the timing. We're open to possibility. We have a calm curiosity, flexible thinking. We move from chaos to clarity, from mindlessness to mindfulness, from being reactive to being more intentional, simply by changing your story. All right, other ways to move from beta to alpha wave, because that's really when we are in high performance. That's when we're ready to take on new material. As Paul mentioned earlier, moving from that what was this? What was the fixed mindset to the growth mindset? Very, very similar to that as well. Right? If we're curious, curiosity leads us to that alpha state. It was funny, we were at Bukald Kalinga, one of the orphanages we visited, and there was a lot of chaos going on, and I kiddingly said to the girls on stage, I go, hey, practice with me for a minute just by going, hum. Try that with me for a minute. Hum. And all of a sudden there was this calm that came across. Did you feel the calm? So it's like the deep breathing brings you in the same thing. Meditation. But just a hum can also help move us through that beta to the alpha. As Nishant was telling us, that's why we take those deep breaths, because you need to be able to change your state so that now you're ready to learn, or you're ready to change your focus. Humor, laughter, is another wonderful way to move from beta to alpha, to help us enjoy our lives and be more intentional in enjoy and play. How many would say you have a pretty good sense of humor? No, come on, there's got to be more than that. Okay, how many used to have a good sense of humor? Okay, how many have never had a sense of humor, but somewhere you think there's just a little bit of hope? Anybody? No? If I wanted my dad to lose his sense of humor when I was growing up, all I would have to do is bring home my report card. Junior high school, my dad beats me to the mailbox. Dinner time, pulls out my report card. He says, "Scott, what is this?" I said, "Dad, it's one person's opinion. Must we talk about it?" One person's opinion. How come Andy doesn't get C's and D's on his report card? Andy was one of my best friends growing up. I could never quite measure up. I said, "Dad, you can't compare me to Andy. We are so much different." "Oh, are you? How are you so much different?" I go, "Dad, Andy has very bright parents." Took me a long time before I could sit down and laugh at that. But we do. We have opportunities to lose our sense of humor every single day, don't we? Okay, I brought with me the Philippines, the Philippine Star. All right, you've probably seen the Philippine Star, haven't you? Somewhere along the way. I'm going to compare your life to this Philippine Star. When it's in its full form, like you see here, this represents when life is really good. You come to to Recrafting Leadership, executing strategy, AI, and human connection. And you can't wait to get home and try some of these things. You have a new mindset. You're gonna the instant replay. You're already up to 6 numbers that you've memorized, and life is good. But then certain things rip away at you every day that cause you stress, that pressure you. Now, here's the part of the program where if you came in with any stressors or you felt pressure about something, this is the time to just get it out. Anybody? Okay, how about when your vroom goes put, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know that you do. All right. Okay. How about, first he starts with 50 minutes of focus, right? With no distractions. Then he was nice enough to cut it down to 30, then 10. And you're thinking to yourself that your record is 20 seconds of focus without distraction. Anybody relate to that at all? All right. Okay. What else? How about the living in a fixed mindset or beta waves, right? That is, sure enough. Okay, every time you ask somebody their name, to you it's, "Hey, what's your name?" Bzzz. Excuse me again? Bzzz. One more time? Bzzz. You don't remember, it's hard to, you don't focus. No, you're not using that, "Oh, hi, bzzz, nice to meet you." Very nice to meet you. All right, let's see, what else do we have here that may do it? Oh, how about like traffic? Traffic in Cebu, right? Yeah, lovely place to be, but not when you're trying to get somewhere, maybe not. So, okay. All right, and of course just the weather. You just never know. It's been a tough weather year last year, right? Lot going on with that. Okay. All right. You ever have a day like this before? Yeah? Anybody ever have a week like this maybe? Maybe a month, maybe a month and a half? A year? Anybody's life seem a little bit too close to this. All right. You see, when you let circumstances and emotions dictate your outcomes, where you lose sight of all the good that you do in the world, these are the days that you have. When you let life control you instead of you controlling life, these are the days that you have. But the good news is, with every single stressor in life, there comes a gift, a chance to think in terms of new possibilities. And if we can keep our sense of humor, we can be more curious, we can be more playful, we can learn to laugh at ourselves, then just like magic, we can restore all these torn feelings. Watch this. That's the first time it's ever worked before. And we realize that the true spirit of laughter encourages the belief that there is good in bad situations. And it's looking for the good that allows us to find the funny, or it's looking for the funny that allows us to find the good when other people can't. And the highest form of humor is the ability to laugh at ourselves. The lowest form of humor is making somebody else the target of a joke. But when we can laugh at ourselves, in a sense, what we're saying is we accept our flaws and our foolishness and our imperfections. And then people can't laugh at us. They have to laugh with us. Other people are laughing at you. Why not join in the fun and learn to laugh at ourselves? Jack Welch created an amazing learning environment at General Electric. He says one of his secrets was he taught his workers to take their work seriously, but take themselves lightly. Great advice. Being more intentional about how we want to live. This is Nancy McGraw. I was very fortunate to work with Nancy for 25 years. After 1 year of working together, we sat down and we said, okay, how can we better serve our clients and how can we better serve each other? We came up with one idea that made all the difference in the world. Job descriptions for each other. And they were the exact same. To create each other's perfect world. My perfect world revolved around more joy, less hassle. I think all of our perfect worlds, in a sense, probably do, right? I wanted to come and go as I please, the freedom to create, a chance to make a difference in whatever unique way I want to make a difference in the world. So if you ask Nancy what she did for me, she said the stuff that doesn't show, which was pretty much everything. Nancy's perfect world revolved around this guy, David. That was her son. At the time, David was young, at home, in school. So anytime they would have teacher-in services or summer would roll around, I would give Nancy more time off so she could spend time with David. Then David went off to college, university in Washington State. And so I knew that if I really wanted to make Nancy happy, that every time I wanted to do something nice for her, David had to be involved. 50th birthday, David calls before that milestone day and says, oh, Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be able to come home for your big birthday. We have a test and I can't make it up, so I'm going to have to make it up to you. She was disappointed, but she understood. Morning of her 50th birthday, she's working a half a day. Phone rings. She thinks it's a client by the way that I'm talking. October 23rd, can you hold on 1 second? Nancy, can you do me a favor? Can you run to the boot of my car and grab my road calendar out? My car's right outside. She runs outside, opens up the boot. There's David in the boot. Surprise! And once we revived her, she was somewhere close to that perfect world. Right? I mean, if we can find out the intrinsic motivators of those in our lives, find out where their passion is, what their joy really is, by asking good questions, just listening actively, we can bring more joy into their lives, which is going to bring more joy into our lives. See, the key is to make life better. I mean, that's what our mission at Together We Can Change the World is, to educate and empower less fortunate children and women in Southeast Asia. We serve 6 countries. We have 22 causes. But we're just trying to bring more joy, to make life better for those that we serve. Finally, she says, Sit down. Yes. So I took my chair and I wedged it right in the corner of the table. That's the only place I could do it because there was no place. And I said, hi, I'm Scott. I'm from Colorado. They introduced themselves around the table. They were a family from Poland that had come to the United States via Canada. We're now living in a suburb of Chicago. So you remember the assignment? A meaningful conversation. So how do you take a conversation, one of chat, and make it more meaningful? I was thinking of the next thing to say. John, far into the table, silver streaked back, white hair, piercing blue eyes, deep wrinkles around his eyes. He looks at me dead in the eye and he says, Scott, are you a Jew? Am I a Jew? I thought that was kind of a funny question to ask. I wasn't wearing a yarmulke or a Star of David. I said, John, as a matter of fact, I am Jewish. He said, well, then we need to go talk. And he got up from the table and he grabbed my arm and he took me to a table at the very back of the food court and he started to tell me about World War II. He said, Scott, when the Germans invaded Poland, they took me and my family and they put us in this work camp. And things were bad in the camp, but not as bad as they were across the tracks where they kept the Jews. Not 1 hour would go by where there wasn't some kind of screaming. And I always wanted to do something, but I couldn't, and I didn't. And then one morning, the screaming stopped. They're gone. You're here. I'm sorry. Tears were streaming down his face. Tears were now streaming down my face. And here I thought this exercise was all about me. Some of the biggest blessings in life, some of the biggest lessons in life are when we realize it's not about us. It's about them. It's about those that we serve. We got up, we hugged goodbye, went back to class, and then we debriefed what we had just done. And it all came down to how we approach fear in our lives. If you think about it, are your most defining moments those lessons learned, those ahas, when you're moving toward fear or away from fear? Toward fear, right? Sometimes we're thrown into fear. In the Philippines, thrown into fear a fair amount of the time, it seems like, through weather calamities. COVID was an example. But business failures, divorces, death, so many things can throw us in. Or we can make the choice to go toward that fear. But that's when the richness of life happens. That's when character is revealed. See, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. If you're not scared, it's not big enough. Comfort never produced greatness. Anyone ever seen The Shawshank Redemption? Great movie with Morgan Freeman, Tim Robbins. If you haven't seen it, I think it's a must-rent. Two main characters, Morgan Freeman, Tim Robbins. Red and Andy. Red and Andy are having a heart-to-heart conversation one afternoon, and Red is sharing his fear of the future. He's been in prison nearly 40 years. He's up for parole for the third time, but this time it really looks like he's going to get out. And he doesn't want to get out. He doesn't know what it's like on the outside. He's been in prison 40 years. He's complaining to Andy that he doesn't want to leave prison. And Andy turns to him and he says, it all comes down to a simple choice. You either get busy living or you get busy dying. I think that's a common theme that you've heard today. You get busy living or you get busy dying as we approach the future, as we really execute strategy, AI, and human connection. There's so many ways we can approach it. We can fear it. We can ignore it. We can deny it. We can just accept it. Or we can imagine it. Or we can create it. The best way to predict the future is to create it. By making choices, new choices, learning from those choices, and continuing to choose based on our values and what our intention is of the life that we truly want to lead. And at the end of the day, I think it all comes down to relationships. The reason I love Together We Can Change the World is my buddies that I get to travel the world with, partners like PSTD that I get to see a couple times a year and do good with, being in front of new friends and old friends and relationships. Quality of life is determined by the quality of relationships. And men and women are so much different about relationships, aren't they? Two women haven't seen each other in a long time. How do they respond? It's you! I can't believe it's you! Come here, give me a big hug. Honey, who is that lady? Oh, some lady I met at the Sinologue Festival. We were sitting next to each other. Her daughter was kind of in the parade. Can't remember her name. Two guys haven't seen each other in a long time. How do they respond? Hey, who is that? Who's that guy? That's Frank. You remember Frank? Frank's the guy that gave me the kidney. Hey, thanks, Frank, for the kidney. Here. Remember when you were young and your mom says, honey, it's much better to give than receive, and you're thinking to yourself, is she nuts? And then you got involved in a cause. Or maybe it's what you're doing today. And you realize that what Albert Schweitzer said is right. He said he doesn't know what your future will bring, but what he does know is that those of us that will truly be the most happy are the ones that have sought and found a way to serve. Luciano de Crescenza said we're all angels, but with only one wing. And only by embracing each other we fly. Never forget how many people you helped to fly. I challenge you to continue to help people fly. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Scott Friedman once again. And I will show you magic.
Hey.
I'll show you magic.